Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
From your perspective, what righted the game in the fourth quarter? What finally came around, or what happened then that maybe wasn't happening earlier?
I just think we were grinding, and you're talking about two teams that have probably been playing as well as anybody the last 6 weeks. So you can't just judge a team by their record, overall record, because they're extremely talented. We knew that going in that this was going to be a challenge, and we would have to compete for 48 minutes hard and do a lot of things right, and be able to weather a few storms, and that's exactly what happened. I thought Caleb and his energy in the fourth quarter really kind of ignited us. He was just doing a lot of little things defensively on the switches, his activity in the zone at the beginning of the third quarter, his closeouts, got his hands on a couple balls, and then the ball just finds energy a lot of times, and that's what happened with him. You know, um, just getting some key defensive stops and kind of getting some momentum plays going the other way.
Eric, I know there are a lot of things about Gabe and Max that you admire that have made them eat guys, but their stick-to-itiveness, their mental fortitude,
Yeah,
going through adversity this year and pulling through.
for sure. I probably enjoy seeing that as much as anything in this game. Showing some fortitude. Uh, in this association, it's never going to be just smooth sailing. Even for people that everything's laid out for them and it's going great. At some point, you're going to hit some rough seas, and you have to be able to respond to that. You have to be emotionally stable enough just to find a way to contribute to winning. Gabe was really good tonight. And I think his activity level again and his voice. His voice is really important to our team. He has great leadership qualities. And I think if you do the right things, defensively over and over and over, I think it just translates into a karma energy that you can't put an analytic to on the other end. The ball just seems to find you and you're in rhythm. And he was able to make some good plays for us on both ends of the court. Max has been playing well as a basketball player to help us, be in a position to win some games. And I know everybody wants to make it just about his three-point shooting, but he's a lot more than just that. In the zone, he was really good, communicating, but also covering up a lot of ground. And then he was creating some very good triggers for us, on catch and shoots. Those were probably our some of our best actions, getting to that part of our menu, and he was able to knock down some off those actions, but the diversity of the menu also, big picture, helps us.
I was waiting for you when you walked in to say the fans got their money's worth.
Yeah,
Again,
right?
because, yet again, I feel like you've been asked like 48 times out of 50 games about things being close, but is there a point where a team just decides it's going to be comfortable in that situation?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say, you're comfortable in these moments. My stomach certainly doesn't feel like that. But our guys, our competitors, they love how that feels in the last 6 minutes of a game if it's a possession game. At times that drives me crazy, but we have a lot of gamers, and look, these aren't easy decisions too. We have some really competitive gamers, that live for those moments that don't always play. I mean, we have a lot of guys that can make big plays down the stretch and have done that, in our uniform. I think, being in so many of these games, at least we don't panic or get sick at sea necessarily when there's some emotional turns, going either way. And then some of the things where you just get repeated reps, you understand what your fourth quarter package is, you understand where the ball needs to go, you understand, how you're going to execute under duress against different coverages, and then different guys stepping up. So those are all encouraging things, as you move forward.
Coach Caleb and Bam, there was a sequence of plays where they both got like kind of back-to-back blocks in that range. It seemed like you guys were doubling on a couple of drives. Was that like a game plan tweak, or was it kind of those guys making reads and helping and making those plays?
Yeah, I mean, as part of that is our system. You know, we just want to try to be as disruptive as possible. That's when we're at our best. So those kind of, traps can happen in a lot of different scenarios, whether they're on drives, pick and rolls, or post-ups. But in those two instances, those were their reads. They have the autonomy to make those decisions in our defensive system. And we really needed that activity. We're at our best, without a doubt. When we're making plays, scrambling around, making multiple efforts, speeding teams up, and at times, putting two on the ball, and then rotating in passing lanes, and then getting deflections. It's a little bit different than some other Miami Heat teams, that we've had.
When Jimmy goes back in, when you finally decide to put him back in the fourth quarter on those things, is there any directive to him, or is it just sort of blatantly obvious, just be Jimmy? In other words, how much is drawn for Jimmy there versus Jimmy just knowing what to do?
The first one, because at the beginning of the third quarter, I thought there was potential that we could have turned that into a 10-point game. And I wanted to give that team, that unit, an opportunity to see if they could extend that lead. Once it got to 6 minutes, that's where it gets a little bit trickier. And to be frank, Jimmy just walked to the scorer's table because he and I have an understanding. It's usually around just under 8. But we let it ride. Then I forgot about it for a second, and he just walked up and he said, "Who am I going in for?" I said, "Well, there's a timeout. Let me figure that out." And then at that point, he understood. He was assertive all night. And then offensively, we're at our best when he's attacking. Bam's attacking, getting 2 feet in the paint, and making whatever play from there. I trust, both those guys to make the right basketball play. They're just, so poised, and they have a balance of being aggressive. Jimmy was so aggressive tonight. That in those swing moments, I think that aggressiveness just kind of always created that separation for us.
And then Kyle hasn't played the fourth quarter the last 2 games. Is that because of injury, because of rest, because of fatigue, or
Well,
what's
the
background
last
there?
game, the second unit really took over, and they deserved to play that out. I wouldn't look into it, more than that. Just, 3 games ago? Sometimes there's recency bias, right? He had all the big plays against New Orleans down the stretch. We have a lot of guys, like I said, that live for those moments, and that's what I love about this group. But, also that sometimes not everybody can be in at the end. And I have as much respect for Kyle and his pedigree in those moments over the course of his career. He's one of the biggest clutch players in this game. So I wouldn't look into it, more than that.
You're going to be seeing Banchero quite a bit over the next few years. What were your first impressions of him, both for how he handled what you threw at him and what you guys were able to throw at him?
Yeah, he's poised. Yeah. He's big, he's skilled. He can do a lot of, things that we were developing, 10 years ago in terms of, a guy handling, a guy in the post, a guy setting screens and creating a pocket. They have a lot of really talented, big players. I guess if you have 13 first-round draft picks and 8 lottery picks, you're going to get some talent, with a team.
Last question.
Over the last few games, you guys have pretty much won almost every box score category. Has that been sort of even more of an emphasis while you sort of just kind of wait for the 3-point shooting to click?
No. Well, we know what our KPIs are. Doesn't mean we get to it as consistently as the head coach wants us to, but we know exactly what our winning blueprint is, for this group, how we need to defend with that kind of disruptiveness, and then offensively, how we need to be aggressive and attack. Like our KPIs really have nothing to do with our 3-point shooting. It'd be great, but that's not really moving the needle, whether we're winning or losing in terms of a lot of other things. Okay.